Everyone is in from the waiting room, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Monty. For the last time, I thank you. And if everybody would indulge me for a moment before we kick off the meeting, I just have a few words I'd like to share with the members of the board and our community. Good evening, Rockport. It's with great personal sadness that in a moment, I will humbly call to order my last meeting as selectman and your chairman of Board of Selectmen. In my last 6 years as an elected member of this great Board of Selectmen, it would be safe to say that we have navigated some stormy waters, but our ship continues to sail straight and upright, even in the stormiest of seas, yet we remain set firmly on a true north course for our future, which awaits us patiently on a bright horizon. I may be remembered for some of the feistier moments on this board, but hopefully those were distant and far between. What I truly hope to be remembered for is showing a willingness to change, an ability to compromise, all while being as fair and honest as God gave me the ability to do so. To my current board members, please know that it has been truly an honor to serve the great town of Rockport with you. We fought, we laughed, we deliberated, and we have disagreed. What some don't understand is that this realization that those things are all okay. That's what healthy families do. And in the end, they work for a common purpose to serve those who have elected them. Regardless of past differences, make no mistake about it. You don't spend as much time together as we do and not feel like family. To former members of the board I have had the privilege to serve with, thank you for your service to our town. Through honest and respectful deliberations, we have accomplished some great things. Serving the town of Rockport has taught me many lessons. The first of which is that time should always be taken to listen to both sides of an argument before assessing responsibility or holding accountable persons or entities. I can honestly say that every single decision I have ever made on behalf of the taxpayers of Rockport has without fail always been made fairly and impartially, regardless of what some uninformed naysayers might think. Some may also think these comments are not heartfelt or that may even be characterized as disingenuous. I assure you they are anything but. They're completely heartfelt and hopefully convey my admiration for anyone who involves themselves in the smooth running of our great town. Disagreement with this board will inevitably occur and is necessary. However, it should always be conducted in a cooperative and a productive way. I urge conversation, collaboration, and cooperation as the best approach to successful town government. In closing, I would like to thank all of those dedicated town workers, committee members, volunteers, and town council. Without you all, this town's future would not be as bright or as friendly. Most importantly, I would like to thank our town administrator, Mitch Vieira. Your council, dedication to Rockport, and the ability to remain calm under the most trying circumstances has been nothing short of inspiring. I've learned much about town government from you and how to approach each issue with clarity of purpose and firm resolve. This town is extremely lucky to have a man of your caliber in that position, and my sincere hope is that when it comes time for you to retire, you will do so from Rockport after having served faithfully and impartially for decades. Thank you again to the voters of Rockport for what was a true honor of a lifetime. I am grateful beyond words. With that, I now call this meeting of April 26th at 6:05 p.m. to order. Thank you for listening. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I jump in for one moment? You know me, I have to have my say.
Go ahead.
I think I'm one of those guys that you battled with over the last 6 years, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's good. All boards should not agree all the time. Arguments and thoughtful discourse is important, and you did that with great grace and style, and your self-deprecating humor. Really, some of the funniest moments on this board is because of your sense of humor, and you treated everyone, and I thought that was an unfair knock at town meeting on you, because you have treated everyone with the respect that they deserve on both sides of the aisle, as they say. But I think it's wonderful you fell in love. A kid from East Boston moving to Rockport, falling in love with the town and serving faithfully for 6 years on the Board of Selectmen, and you did it with great style, and you should be proud of your 6 years. And I hope that at some point that you'll come back and maybe serve on a committee or two, because I'm sure you're not going anywhere. So a job well done, Don, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. The check will be forthcoming for making those comments. They were not prodded by me. So, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. And you're right. But you know what, Paul, as much as we may have disagreed, you and I are both smiling at the end. So
Yeah.
that's really what matters the
Yep.
most. And everybody here, I can say without exception on this current board, we all get along well and everybody respects each other. And that's a great thing. So thank you
No
for saying
question.
that. That's
Absolutely.
great. All right.
If we're in the moment, Mr. Chair, I'll say something.
I wasn't looking to make this a me thing. I wanted.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
I didn't get to spend that much time with you, but the time I did, I learned more than I have in a lifetime. So, I appreciate you taking me under your wing and teaching me all the lingo and all the little details you could. So I appreciate that. And I'm sure I'll be hearing a lot from you once you clock out on May 10th. So.
That's right. Well, I appreciate that. And I also want to thank Ross for my 3 jelly donuts. As I told him, a half dozen probably would have put Brothers Brew under. So I'll be thankful for those 3 donuts. Jelly donuts are my favorite and Ross's are the best. So thank you, Ross. I appreciate that. And also one more to Sarah. She put a nice little box here together of all kinds of stuff that is not going to be shown to my family. Otherwise they'll be gone. But thank you, Sarah. I wish everybody was here so we could enjoy it together. But thank you very much.
Hold on, my turn.
Oh, God.
So what's funny is in thinking, Don, I feel like you start things with we battled, we disagreed, but what's interesting, looking back over the past 6 years, what's funny is I think we're such a motley crew. We have different backgrounds, different experiences, different styles, but in the end, sure, we disagreed sometimes, but we probably agreed way more than we expected to.
Absolutely.
Or, so often people say to me, "Oh, do you guys just battle all the time?" And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes we battle through issues, but we always come to a really, and even if our vote is 3-2 or 4-1, we get there in a really thoughtful way with really good discussion. And honestly, these past 6 years, it's been an honor to serve with you,
that's
Ross, and Herm. And, I'm not sure how I'm going to get rid of Paul, but
Yeah, I think Mary Beth will take care of that for you.
but it's interesting because I always say, and some people are like, "Oh, it's so cliche that, it takes all kinds and all different people to make boards and committees happen." But we are a perfect example of that. And,
I agree.
unfortunately, we haven't had this past year. I gave the cookies to everybody because if we were together tonight, we would have the meeting and then we would all sit around and probably joke about the appropriate and inappropriate things that you say.
Yeah.
But we really have, we've battled through a pandemic and we've gotten through to the other side, and we've done that together. And, with Mitch's, role, which is so significant. I was so glad that you said that. But, we've gone through a lot together, this crew, and I'm really proud of us. So thank you for your service.
No, thank you for the kind words, Sarah. And I got to tell you, with no besmirchment to anybody else, out of anybody on this board, I think I've learned the most from you. You're extremely knowledgeable. You are so well versed in town affairs. Your connections are second to none. And I think you always represent this town with integrity and honor. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. We all, honestly, I'm really proud to say, I think we all do that right now on the board. And, even when we disagree, we all come at it with the best interests of the town and the residents first and foremost. So.
Absolutely, as it always should be. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. All right, let's get going.
No, you can't cut me out of the
I'm
picture.
sorry, Herm. I didn't want to put you on the spot, and I wasn't asking.
No, you're not putting me on the spot. No. I mean, our association or interaction goes back to planning board days, and has had rough spots and had very, very admirable interactions as well. And I'm appreciative of what I've learned from you. To see you in the current setting is decidedly different and much appreciated compared to either what I might have assumed in the past. You have really filled the role very nicely. And I, because my relationship goes more with your mother-in-law than with you. We grew up together, and
Right.
way back when one of my sisters used to babysit your mother-in-law. I used to go over there. So the family association with the Coldejohns is long. And I do appreciate your being a part of that family, and you've done very well. So thank you again.
Well, thank you, Herm. I appreciate that. And as everybody knows, elected officials can't take anything over $50. So there'll be a check for $49.99 going out to all of you after the meeting. So thank you for doing so. All right. With that, let's go right on. Let's get right into this. Let's open it up to public comment, Monty, if we can, please. And we will go to Mr. Arsenian.
Thank you, Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. I attended the Government and Bylaw Committee last night. Mitch Vieira, presiding for Zoom, was also there. They were making great progress. You could also say they were proceeding with undue haste and not enough caution. You could phrase it either way, and until you get to the final results, you really can't be certain. One of the things that came forward was revising the Conservation Commission's Wetlands bylaw, which went into the Code of Bylaws, and they certainly need help from the Conservation Commission as a whole, not just a member or two, in order to adequately do that. That's something they would certainly acknowledge. And with the Conservation Commission down to 4, I gather you're going to talk about it this evening. Mention of the Conservation Commission also brings to mind the Cape Ann Tool Company site. And with the Cape Ann Tool Company site, your board, and in particular Paul Murphy, has on several occasions promised that the public would get updates on what goes forth there, on the theory that it is a matter of not just neighborhood concern, but concern for the whole town. And as it happens, we've not got updates, and we've certainly not got a accounting of it all, the permitting history that I asked for many months ago. Recently, the Conservation Commission issued a permit for the tool company site for Mr. Rousio, his outfit, the Landing Group, and yet more recently, the state has seen fit to rescind the permit. I trust we'll get a more thorough and proper account of that later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If I can, Mr. Chairman, Toby
Please.
invoked my name about giving updates. Yes, there will be updates when there's something to report. We're not going to give updates if there's not enough information to report. So nothing is being hid or we're not hiding anything. So I just want to make sure that everyone's clear on that.
Very good. Anybody else want to speak to that? We're good? Okay. Moving on, we are going to go to item C, the consideration of mosquito spraying program opt-out. Do we have? Yeah, we do have a motion on this. Let's put the motion on the table and then we'll have some discussion and see where we want to go. Is there a motion?
There is, Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Selectmen opt out of the mosquito spraying program as recommended by the Board of Health.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Okay, let's open it up. I see we have Dr. Newman with us. Do you want to, Ron, do you want to chime in on this? Monty, can you unmute him? Thank you.
Yes,
Ron?
thank you. I can say a few words. Thanks. The Board of Health has voted to recommend to the Board of Selectmen that we opt out of the state mosquito spraying program as we did last year. If you remember last year, we recommended a program of community education to try to limit, the proliferation of mosquitoes and to monitor the situation, looking for any evidence that mosquitoes were producing, if we had any incidents of Eastern equine encephalitis or West Nile virus disease. We don't have the conditions in Rockport to support significant cases of those diseases, we feel. And so we felt that we should not spray and we should take a more conservative education and monitoring approach. And that's what our recommendation is.
Okay, good. Very good. Thank you, Ron. We appreciate that. I see Leslie's with us too. Leslie, did you want to say something?
Only if you had any questions, I could answer. That's all.
Nope. Okay, good. That's fine. All right, let's open it up to the board. Who has comments on this?
We've opted out on this in prior years, correct?
Yes, last year we opted out.
Was that the only other year, or were there more?
I think I think before that it was something that I think last year it just became known to us that we had to do that, unless I'm wrong, because I don't remember it. But I think last year, if I remember right, it was brought to our attention. Then we voted on it, and here we go again. Yep. All right, Herm.
Only a brief comment, and that's that if there were mosquitoes as there were when I was a youth in Rockport, I might have a different opinion, but in the last 10, 12 years since we have relocated back to Rockport, there certainly hasn't been any evidence of it. So I'm in full agreement with this.
Okay. Just a quick question for Ron or Leslie. If let's say we didn't opt out, what is besides, spending copious amounts of money on off and deep woods and all that kind of stuff, are there any risks that we run by not doing it?
Leslie, do you want to take that?
I think the likelihood that the state would spray over Rockport is really, really slim. So because our mosquito-borne disease risk is so low. So the value of opting out, I think, is mostly to assuage any anxiety that people feel about the threat potentially of the state taking some action that seems either unnecessary or dangerous to human health.
Good, perfect. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate that. All right, while we're here, unless anybody else from the board has a comment, I want to go to the board first. Okay. Let's open it up for a little bit of public comment here. Does anybody wish to say anything about this, speak on this in any form? Nope, this is our community. You folks live here, so I just wanted to make sure that everybody has a chance to have their voice heard. Okay, let's go with that. So we have a motion on the board to opt out. Motion's been seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Selectman Brackett.
Aye.
Selectwoman Wilkinson.
Aye.
Selectman Murphy.
Aye.
Selectman Lilia.
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. And I guess that now, Mitch, you take care of that in the office and send the state, or does that come from the Board of Health? I'm not sure who handles the other side of this.
So we'll work with Leslie to make sure we get it processed.
Okay.
I believe
Good.
it comes from our office. I think, Leslie, we have to send something in.
Okay.
We'll take care of that.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, we're going to go to item D, number 1, Amy Oakes Beautification Committee. And I see Amy right there. There you go. Monty, if we could unmute Amy. And Amy, before you start, I want to put all the motions on the floor first, and then if we have to change something, we can. So is there a motion for Amy?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have a motion. I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Amy Oakes to the Beautification Committee for a term to expire on June 30th, 2022.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Okay, now we have a motion on the floor. Amy, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're looking to do and your hopes, dreams, aspirations, and we'll see where we go. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Would you just wave if you can hear me, first of all? Somebody? Great. Hi. Nice to be with you tonight. Thank you for the time. My husband and I moved to Rockport last June, and we are now full-time residents. We've both worked for a long time in public education, and we're retiring. And we're retiring to Rockport because I grew up on Cape Ann. So we are very excited to be here. I'm with you tonight from our home, which is the Carnegie Library building. And we feel lucky.
Oh, I
to be
met you guys on my street. You guys came down. I remember seeing you and
good.
your husband. That's right. Yeah.
Good. Good. So both of us feel very strongly that we're lucky to be here, and we would really like to give back and to find a way to do that. So I notice you have openings on this committee, and I met with Stephanie Wolf. We had a great conversation about what the committee does. I have my garden gloves ready to go, right? I have new pruners. I'm more than happy to help. I have a long background in public education. I was a school principal for a long time, a middle school principal, a high school principal in Littleton, Colorado. And so maybe one day there will be more that I can do for Rockport. But at the moment, I thought I would just start by stepping forward to say, would it be helpful if I joined this committee? I'd be happy to do that. Stephanie and I have talked about a little piece of Rockport down by the harbor that needs some attention. And so I'm happy to work on that. I'm not sure if there's anything you'd like to know about me specifically.
I think we're good. I know Selectman Murphy is very excited to hear of your educational background.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's a good thing.
I'm very, very impressed. I just retired after 32 years as a high school administrator.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, so did I, 32 years, many, many years at the high school. And my life doesn't go by bells ringing so much anymore, right? Very
Right.
different. Very different.
I get a little nervous every time I see a school bus, so I got to admit.
See?
Kind of,
Well,
It's a
do like
little
Rob Lebo did. Now you can drive them instead if you want.
I
That's
get a
right.
tough, I don't think I could do a bus, but thank you, Amy. Thank you for stepping forward. And I'm sure there's many things that you can do, but I'm glad that you're interested in the beautification committee. So you have my full support.
Thanks,
Excellent.
happy to help.
I see Stephanie. Stephanie, were you did you want to say something? Monty, if you could unmute Stephanie Wolf, please.
I wanted to tell Mr. Murphy that my mother, when she retired, called it yellow fever when she saw the school buses.
Yeah.
It is. Every time, there is something
Yes.
special when you see that.
And I wanted to say that I had a wonderful meeting with Amy, and that she has already started to beautify and prune and think about Inner Harbor, and we're looking forward to working with her.
That's great. That's great. And again, this is part and parcel of, the people that, especially your committee, where it really, the effects are so visual of what you folks do. And it's just so nice to see. So thank you very, very much. Other comments from the board? Questions?
Just welcome, welcome, Amy, and thank you so much for volunteering so quickly after you moved here. We love volunteers like you that move back to Cape Ann and are willing to jump right in. It's what makes the town go round, literally. So thank you so much, and I look forward to meeting you.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay, Herm, please.
Yes, welcome, Amy. My thoughts are you going to miss the Rockies? I have a daughter who lives in Highlands Ranch, so we frequent the area quite often.
You know, I was a Broncos fan for quite a while, but when Peyton Manning went away, that kind of fizzled. So we're ready to embrace the Red Sox and the Bruins and even the Patriots again.
It takes a while to, in a sense, retrench or to convert back, but I'm sure you will.
Yeah,
anyway, good that you're here. Beautification of Rockport is something that we all appreciate. And as has been said already, anyone who comes back to volunteer, that's appreciated too. So more power to you.
That's great. Well, I got to tell you, Amy, I was ready to nix your confirmation here because you're a Broncos fan, but seeing that you're going to be a convert, I think we're going to be okay. You passed. You're going to be all right. Just don't be a Yankees fan. Don't be a Yankees fan.
No.
That's it. All right, good.
That's
all
a
right,
deal
you've heard
breaker.
the motion. Yeah, it's a deal breaker. That's right. You've heard the motion's been seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Selectman Brackett.
Aye.
Selectwoman Wilkinson.
Aye.
Selectman Murphy.
Aye.
Selectman Lilia.
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Amy, welcome. Glad to have you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Appreciate it.
Stephanie, nice to see you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. Thanks, Stephanie.
Good meeting.
All right. All right. Moving on, we will go to letter D, item 2, George Katropoulos for Granite Pier Committee. Yeah, Joe, he's with us. Monty, can you, let's put the motion out there and then we'll open it up.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint George Katropoulos to the Granite Pier Committee for a term to expire on June 30th, 2022.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Okay, Monty, could you, you already did, thank you, right on top of things. George, you are unmuted. Please tell us what's going on and why you want to serve on the committee.
Good evening. I'm a 5th generation Rockporter. I've lived in the same house for 51 years. I've probably spent most of my life on Granite Pier. My parents boated out of there. My father worked on several projects down there, donated a lot of time, which my brother and I carry on. We'd like to see the pier stay the way it is. We're down there a lot of times in the storms, diverting water that's washing the place out, trying to make the place better, you know, and we'd like to see it stay the same. And I have a lot of background in seawalls and with my work that I do, you know, I'm a 3rd generation excavating contractor. We do a lot of seawall work, pier work, water, sewer. Like I say, I'm there a lot. Really don't want to see the place change too much more than it has, you know. And there are a lot of things that we've helped out on there with, like I said, water. We move the shed down there to make it more access for people, a little easier to use. And there are some things that need to be done down there that I may bring to the table that I know a little more than most about. Spent a lot of time with the committee members. I know most of them personally. That's about it.
No, that's perfect. Thank you, George. We appreciate it. I'll tell you what, I'll kick it off with the first one. Now, you said you didn't want to see things change. That's okay. That's fine. But if you could make a change, if there was something, a change, an improvement, anything, is there anything that you think would make Granite Pier better?
Yeah, there's some safety things down there that should be done. Then there's some wall work that needs to be done. It would be nice to see some areas cleaned up, filled in, kind of keep a better eye on trash and the storage down there. That's about all. But, you know, there's also some lighting issues. Some dark spaces where the committee's been working on trying some solar lights and stuff. And that's about it, you know. It's a nice place. It's one of the nicest places in Rockport.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
There is some work that needs to be done on the end of the pier. Hoping to get to the DPW about that at some point. The end of the pier is sliding in and it needs to be done. I've got a couple ideas on how we could do it without costing the town too much money. That's about it.
Good. Other questions from the board? Paul?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. George, was Tina your aunt, Tina Katropoulos?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was, I have to say, one of the nicest, and I don't say this lightly, one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. She was a wonderful, wonderful person.
I appreciate that, Paul.
Oh, God, she was terrific. We'd walk by the house and my kids, when they were like in the carriage, would yell out Tina and she'd come out, and she was just had such a nice way about her. So, well, I appreciate you stepping forward for this committee. Sounds like you're more than qualified to have a seat on the committee, and I liked what Don Campbell asked you in your answer. So you have my full support, and again, thank you for stepping forward.
And thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Those years of experience living here in town, 5th generation, that plays a very, very big part in what goes on. So that's a great thing. Thank you. Other questions from the board?
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yeah, thanks so much, George, for stepping forward. Nice to hear your voice. I'm excited to have someone like you with so much experience and history there step forward, because, you know, sometimes people come forward with an idea to change something, you know, whether they're new to town or grew up here. And so often people will reach out to me and say, I want to, I just want to, I don't want to see this change. Like, I want to see this stay the same. It's kind of what we've found with Evans Field and this renovation project. But sometimes those aren't the people that step forward, you know, so sometimes it's the people that want to change things that are eager to step forward. So it's great to have a mix. And so I'm excited to have you with all of your history and
Thank you.
experience and excavators.
There you go. Well, that's great. Okay, are there any other questions from the board?
Sure,
Herb,
just a
please.
brief statement. I mean,
Sure.
it's always good to see somebody who has grown up in town turn to the town to offer their extra time, donated as it is. You know, the Kachopolis family, Kachopolis Markets, Jim, who I guess was an uncle of yours in my class, and another Jim who may have been your father for all I know. But anyway, the family has a long history with the town, and it's good to see you stepping forward to offer your services at this time. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, perfect. Last call for questions. Nope. Okay, hearing none. We have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote. Selectman Brackett,
Aye.
Selectwoman Wilkinson,
Hi.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. George, thank you very much. You're now official and you are good to go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your service as well.
Thank you, George. That was kind of you to say. I appreciate that.
Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
George.
All right,
Thank
have
you.
a good night.
Bye.
All right, let's move on to item E. It's the consent agenda, which is the approval of minutes, 50 Long Beach lease to reflect the change of address, common victuals license, Rockport Golf Club, accept resignation of Christina Wilcox from the Economic Development Committee, and a correction to the Rockport New Year's Eve concert time and rain date of August 7th, 2022. Does anybody wish to hold any of the items listed? Hearing none. Is there a motion?
There is, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve all non-held items on the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Selectman Brackett.
Aye.
Thank you. Selectwoman Wilkinson.
Aye.
Selectman Murphy.
Aye.
Selectman Lilia.
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. We'll go on to the action list. The first two items, the issue of a special town meeting warrant and stances on warrant articles, are going to be delayed until Friday. We're going to have a special meeting at 9:15 this Wednesday morning where that will be taken up. So
I think
Mr.
that's
Chair, I think it's 8:50.
8:15.
8:15.
I'm sorry, 8:15? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was for 9. That's fine. Perfect. 8:15, just so we're clear. I don't want anybody getting confused. 8:15. All right, let's go to number 3, the outdoor display renewal for Blue Lantern. Is there a motion?
That me?
Ross, that's you.
Yep, sorry. I move that the board approve the outdoor display renewal for the Blue Lantern for the 2022 season.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Come on, Brackett, step it up. Don't make my last meeting awkward here. Come on. All right. Does anybody have let's open this up for discussion. Anybody have anything to say? I think everything's in line, Mitch. No issues, violations, problems. Everything is good, correct?
No issues.
Very good. Any comments from the board? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Selectman Brackett.
Aye.
Selectwoman Wilkinson.
Aye.
Selectman Murphy.
Aye.
Selectman Lilia.
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. The approval of temporary closures for Sea and Cellar. Is there a motion?
There is, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Selectmen approve Sea and Sellers request to temporarily close on April 28th, 2022 to May 2nd, 2022, May 21st, 2022 to June 9th, 2022. I'm sorry, I screwed this up. Let me start again.
No, you got it. No, you covered. You got it. The
I get
end
it,
got
okay. May 21st, 2022 and June 9th, 2022 to June 13th, 2022. A lot of
Very good.
22s.
A lot of 22s, double deuces. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion on this one? Anybody? Nope. Okay. And let's go to a vote. Selectman Brackett,
Aye.
Selectwoman Wilkinson,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 6 were to set mooring fees. And I just want to read the, set the mooring fees. So go ahead. Yeah, please.
Chair, I'm gonna recuse myself from this. I am the current Commodore at the Yacht Club, which doesn't, it could go either way, but in reading the meeting prep materials, I saw one of the fees is a dinghy fee, which we have a dinghy. So it's better to just be safe and recuse myself.
Very good.
Thank you,
Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, good. So we have the motion. Somebody did make the motion, right? Did I hear that?
No, not yet. Would you like a
Okay.
motion?
Yes, please, if you would.
Okay, I move that the selectmen set the mooring fees as recommended by the harbor masters.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Okay. I know we have Rosemary here, and Monty, being right on his game, already has her unmuted. So
There you go.
Rosemary, we'll open it up to you, and Scott's here as well. Perfect. They're right there. Good.
Okay, Scott's going to present this. Thank you, Chairman Campbell and members of the board. We're here to answer any questions. We thought about proposing this prior to the pandemic starting, but we're looking to do a small increase. It's been over 5 years since we've had the increase. A quick note on the skiff stickers. We do not charge the people who have moorings. They get a skiff sticker without a fee. The skiff sticker that is described here is one for people who do not have a mooring in Rockport Harbor. So that's what that fee is. So any questions on the proposed fees?
No, I know I've read through them. I see them. They seem extremely reasonable. I'm glad to hear what you just said, Scott, because I think that that's the only thing I had a little problem with the skiff stickers. But I think that now that if somebody has a mooring and then they just get the skiff sticker, I think that's great. So that clears my question up. I have no other questions. I think we should cover what the proposal is so people are aware of it. If you may, I'll just read that out quickly. April 26th, 2022, memo to Board of Selectmen Town Administrator, subject mooring rate increase for 2022. The harbor masters find it necessary to increase mooring rates for the 2022 boating season. The present rates have not been increased in over 5 years. Recommended annual mooring rate increase for the 2022 boating season. $10 per foot mooring increase to $11 per foot. $18 per foot for the South Basin floats. Slips will go to $20 per foot. $100 per foot White Wharf floats, slips 105, kayak racks 100. Coast Guard Cove, $100 per season, going to 120. Skip stickers, $30 to $100 per season. I know we all got this on the board, and does anybody have any questions on this for Scott or Rosemary?
I do, Mr. Chairman. The last time there was an increase was, did you say 5.5 years? Did I read that correctly?
5 years ago.
5 years ago, okay. And has that been every 5 years, basically? Has it been like an increase, or is it hit or miss?
It was put off because of the pandemic.
Okay,
It's not a 5-year cycle. It could be an every year cycle, but right now it's been 5 years.
okay.
And just for a point of clarity, so people understand where things stand, we had expenditures the last season of 137,433, with revenues of 141,141. So it's about a $4,000, $4,300 differential between the two, which is not anywhere near what is needed to sustain. So this increase was done, I think, in a very thoughtful way by Rosemary and Scott to have minimal impact on those that use it, but also provide the necessary revenue for the town in order to provide those services and those accommodations. So I think you folks did a great job in putting this together, and I thank you for it. Other questions from the board before we take a vote on this?
This might be more for Mitch, is he's more, where does this put us in the sense of, we're still behind, correct?
So we're still
Well, so-
behind, but excuse me, this is a step in the right direction. And I think as has been touched upon briefly, we will need to take a closer look at this each year moving forward. Certainly not saying that it will go up every year, but we do need to look at it. As the chairman indicated, the amounts that he read are simply in the operating budget. The waterways account currently has not covered the capital needs in a number of years. The boat that was purchased and several other items have come from free cash, and some items have come, gangways have come from CPC. So, I think there is still some work that needs to be done, but I appreciate that the harbor masters are taking this first step to, at a minimum, move us towards at least keeping the operating side, pardon the pun, but above water on this. So, I think we're a couple $1,000s away from, needing the general fund to subsidize on that. So I think this certainly helps us. And again, we'll need to continue to take a closer look at this over the next couple of years.
So as we do look forward, wouldn't it be worth taking the bite out now and increasing it a little bit more? So, I don't know how my fellow board members go, but I know, we're business is business. So we do need to, make sure we do stay above the water, as Mitch said. So I just think, maybe a slight increase more than what is posted, I think would be better for the town as a whole. But,
I don't have any problem with that, but I'm wondering if it's kind of late in the season to increase it even more. I mean, it may be something that we could look at for next year.
I think if we're running at, about a $4,300, in the black, I think by what this is, and Rosemary and Scott, have you done any calculations on how much additional revenue would be generated by these increases?
We have not at this point.
Okay, all right. I think it's going to go, a long way into adding into that and not having to pull money out. But Herm, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm curious about transient boaters. Is there much revenue that comes from transient boaters? And is this on the increase or the decrease?
Go ahead, Rose.
It's pretty much on the straight and narrow every year. There's not a huge increase on it. I mean, we feel that Rockport has a lot to offer, but as for tying up and boating facilities, we do not have, we have stone piers and we have other we don't have the great facilities that other boaters are used to. So we just like to offer at $1 a foot, a 40-foot boats, $40.
We're pretty much in line with the other communities,
Yeah.
but we're allowing them to tie up to a granite wall with a 10-foot tide, and it's a unique situation, but it's not the same thing as going someplace else and tying to a nice float.
No, I can fully appreciate it. However, it is minimal at $1 a foot, but anyway, okay.
Well, it's incomparable to other communities.
It really is comparable.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Okay.
Yep.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
My understanding is that Manchester is $12.50 a foot. Do we know what the amenities are that they offer?
Water, fuel,
Water, fuel, electricity.
a dock master that ties them up.
And floats that they tie them up to.
And then one more question. I'm assuming, as earlier with Don's question for Granite Pier, do those safety issues get paid for by the waterway account? And if so, wouldn't that incline us to charge more so we can make sure those safety measures get put into place?
The lighting and whatnot is a matter that Granite Pier is in charge of paying for and regulating.
And Granite Pier collects their own fees
Okay.
for those
On land.
on land for those
Mhm.
items.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Nope. Okay. So you've heard the motion, you've heard the changes to the rates. I'll ask one more time. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none.
I'll make a comment. I think it's too small of amount of an increase, but that's that. So
Okay,
We'll work towards that, Ross.
I understand, but you know, I think we should get there sooner than later instead of keep getting further and further behind. We're
As
still
Paul-
taking a step forward, but we're still going to be behind. So
As Selectman Murphy mentioned, it is late in the season to start. Anyway, we'll work towards it.
I think Ross makes a good point, but coming off of, you know, the financial year that everybody's having, everybody's counting pennies here. Even those that can afford boats. So I don't want to, you know, it doesn't fly with me. If you can afford a boat, you can afford that. You know, the expenses come up for everything, but people shouldn't be penalized. And I think this is a very reasonable increase to the fees. And again, you guys will look at it next year and see if it's warranted again. So with that, let's go. We've had the motion. It's been seconded. Is there further discussion last time? Hearing none, roll call vote. Selectman Brackett,
aye.
Selectwoman Wilkinson.
She recused herself.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I apologize. Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 4-0 with one abstention. Very good. Thank you, Rosemary and
you.
Scott. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, let's go to item number 7, the approval of ARPA local fiscal recovery fund request. Is there a motion, please? Sarah, you can get back with us now. Good.
There is, Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the standard operating revenue deduction for ARPA funds.
I'll
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Mitch, regale us with your wisdom on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the first reporting period is coming upon us this week. And one of the items that the final rule that was enacted April 1st allowed for was a standard, excuse me, standard allowance for revenue loss of up to $10 million. So that's certainly far more than we are getting for the course of over the course of this funding cycle. The town of Rockport will get a little over $2 million. However, if we elect this standard deduction, it does provide for streamlined reporting requirements, which will be very helpful for us. It has no impact and no change on what our plan is internally for determining what we'll be using for projects, and that the selectmen will need to approve each of the uses as we go along. This is simply to allow some streamlining in the reporting. So when we do our initial report to the federal government, it will be that the town of Rockport has elected the standard allowance for revenue loss, which will then allow us to go to annual reporting after that, as we are able to spend the funds over the next several years. So this really is one of those mechanical things that make it easier for us, that the final rule allowed for, which is tremendously helpful. So I would encourage and ask that you please approve this recommendation. And now that we've gotten through town meeting, we're going to start to look at what some of those uses are and bring them back to you.
Excellent.
Very good. Thanks for the explanation, Mitch. Any questions on this one? Nope, everybody good?
Yep.
Good. Mitch explained it very clearly. I think it's the right move, and that's a good thing. So that's great. Okay, you've heard the motion. It's been seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Selectman Brackett,
Aye.
Selectwoman Wilkinson,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. That's great. That is number 7. Let's move on to item G, the Housing Authority vacancy and appointment process. This is going to be a validation of the usual process that we have, just to reiterate it. And we will go from there. So I'm going to open it up. We have no vote on this. Mitch, do you want to cover this?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm seeking a concurrence from the board to utilize the process that we have used for the planning board in the past. For the Housing Authority, they had an elected member resign. Resignation letter was submitted to the clerk's office within the last few weeks. And I'd like to seek the board's clearance to proceed as we did with the planning board, which when Selectman Lilia became Selectman Lilia, we advertised the vacancy, we had individuals apply, and then it was a joint appointment process, which is the joint appointment is a legal requirement until the next election. So next year, we would be filling the vacancy until next year. That process works well. I think it's fair and allows anybody to put in for it. And I would ask that, the board provide its concurrence with moving forward with that. And if you do this evening, we'll prepare some timelines and get that process rolling so that probably by the end of May, we'll be in a position for you to have a joint meeting with the Housing Authority remaining members for an appointment.
I think that's a great idea. We've had a history of doing that. In fact, back in the early 90s, I was appointed by the Board of Select, a joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Sarah Wilkinson was still in high school. Joint between the Board of Selectmen and the school committee. So I think that it works well and it makes sense. So I support this.
Excellent. Any other comments from the board? All right, good. So we will proceed in the usual fashion. What happened?
Just some feedback.
Okay. All right, we're good. All right, so that's good. So nothing else. Is there, I mean, I don't think there's any public comment we need on this. People can, we have public comment coming up at the end. So if anybody wants to speak on this, there was no vote taken, so nothing to change if need be, if we hear counter. Okay, let's go to item H, the Selectmen and Town Administrator updates. And of course, as always, we will defer to our Town Administrator for his updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Board of Health and Regional Vaccination Group is hosting a vaccination clinic this weekend. They do it every 3 weeks. So there is a session this Saturday at the Community House. They have over 100 people are registered so far. So it is by appointment only. So folks should go on the website to see if there are any appointments left. I'm not sure that there may be at this point, but there might be one or two based on some cancellations. So I would certainly again like to extend the thanks to those who are taking part in that process. As you're aware, some of the case numbers have gone up a bit in the last couple of weeks. So the Board of Health continues to encourage everyone to get their vaccinations and get their boosters, including those who are eligible for the second booster for some of the items. So that is happening this weekend. We've gotten some inquiries from members of the public about what's going on over at the Community House. So an opportunity now to share with everyone, we have had to replace the sewer lateral that goes into the building. We've been experiencing some backups a couple of times a week into the building. So for those who have called and reached out about the construction equipment out front, DPW had to disassemble the entire deck in front of the building, replace the line into it, and they're in the process now of reassembling and getting that put back into good order. So kudos to the Public Works Department for handling all of that project in-house, from the sewer main replacement, for sewer line replacement to disassembly and reassembly of the deck in front of the building. So hopefully that will provide some relief to the issues that we're having there. Conservation Commission.
Mitch, hold on. Before we move on to the next one, I have a quick question. When will the Community House be opened up again for public use?
For the general public to rent?
Yes.
Right now, we're aiming for July.
July?
Correct.
And what's holding that till July?
Its primary uses right now are the COVID vaccine clinics, and the Council on Aging is slowly amping back up on their programming, and priority uses for the Council on Aging programming. So we also do not currently have a building manager for that. We're looking at what we're going to do for that position. And we also need to address some custodial support and some funding for that facility. So we're addressing all of those items over the next few weeks. So July is when we will be ready to proceed.
Good. Sarah, you had something to say?
I just wanted to know, because somebody reached out to me about renting it, and Mitch gave me the accurate information, which I passed along, and they were happy to have it. They had heard on the street that, just full transparency, they heard that the selectmen were picking and choosing who we wanted to let rent it. And I just very nicely said, no, that's not how it works. Unfortunately, we're having a lot of issues with the building, but also its primary use has been the vaccine clinic, and it's set up like that all the time. So they're able to continue to do that. Right. So, and I continue to tell people that July is what we're aiming for.
So just to confirm, it's not a Board of Selectmen conspiracy, correct?
It's not. It's not.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I didn't want any trouble as I walk out the door.
It's
So I just
not.
wanted, all right, good. I just wanted to make sure. That's good. Thank you. Any other comments from the board on that? No. Mitch, go ahead. Continue, please.
Thank you. The update on conservation matters. So we are several things, several irons in the fire for that. So we have the ongoing matters. We're working with town council relating to all of the pending matters that were before the commission. They did an excellent job before some of the members stepped down of closing up as many of the open items as they could. There are still 2 of them that are open, and we're working with council on the appropriate process to address both of those items. We're also working with town council on the enforcement orders that are open. There are a couple of enforcement orders that were active, one of them being very time sensitive. So we're taking a close look at that and figuring out what we need to do to address that. Certainly, it's been an eye-opening experience to figure out all the intricacies that go into that particular process. I've read through the environmental handbook that the State Association for Conservation Commissioners puts out. It's very helpful. So we're at least starting to get familiar with what we need to do to move forward. We have started the interview process for resume the interview process for the conservation agent position. So we hope to get something recommended and taken care of for that in the next couple of weeks. That will be a very significant thing, getting an agent back in place. I think that'll be really significant. Additionally, as you're aware, there are 4 vacancies on the commission right now. We had a number of individuals apply to ensure that everybody was coming into this eyes wide open and not listening to some of the incorrect information that has been floating around online about time commitments and roles and responsibilities. We had a session last evening for those who have applied with town council. Town council walked through time commitment, roles, responsibilities, examples of it. Certainly a lot of material. Selectman Lilia as the liaison and Vice Chair Brackett were both present for that discussion as well. A lot of information, but I think helpful to those who were interested. So those who remain interested after that session, we're reaching out to verify that. And then we will commence with the rest of the process. So one of the things that I did say to all of those who were interested, if they, for their candidacy to progress, they did need to be present for that session, because this is something that's important. And we don't want to be in a position where somebody is coming on to a commission like this with the incorrect expectations or understandings on what's required of them. It is not just 2 hours twice a month. This is a time-consuming commission where there's even a certification process and an education program that they need to undergo. So a lot more to it than just putting somebody on a particular group. So we're working on what we need to do there. I expect that we'll need to do another round of advertising to get a few more folks interested and make some determinations. We didn't, unfortunately, get everybody who had applied there last night. We'll make an assessment on what to do about that in the next couple of days. So we're moving ahead on that, and I expect we'll be ready to address, have you consider some folks probably in the next couple of weeks.
Good. Sarah, go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Mitch. Just so everyone knows, I mean, you have like literally dropped everything to deal with this.
Yep. We're trying to make this a priority, absolutely a priority.
It is clearly a priority. One thing I thought of this afternoon, because the board got an email from someone who had been interacting with the agent and then, is there a way with IT to get those emails? I mean, you may have already done this, forwarded, and also to go back and look and see if there were other emails that didn't get responded to.
Yeah, I know that the administrative assistant had been going through and looking at them, as had the former chair. So I was a bit surprised, frankly, to see today's email that they didn't get some kind of out of office, but I'll work with Monty to make sure we have something up on that. I had been under the impression that that was in place because we had heard from some other people who had gotten something. So we'll make sure that that's taken care of.
Yeah, thank you. And just to reiterate, I wasn't at the session last night. I know Herm and Ross were, but I've been been discussing this a lot with you, and I've seen some comments online that are like, we have to fill it quickly, we need bodies, and it's the opposite. I mean, if it takes us a little time, the key with, a commission like this is to really get the appropriate people on there who understand their role. And it is a significant time commitment. I just, it's very important, because the whole 2 hours twice a month is just not accurate. And I just wouldn't want to set anyone up for failure.
Herm?
By chance, Mitch, was Amy's presentation recorded last evening?
It was not. We have a PowerPoint of what she walked through, but it was not
Okay.
recorded.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Sure. So that covers that piece, and then the tool company item. So the Department of Environmental Protection has chosen on their own volition to take this project and consider it and issue a superseding order of conditions. They have not thrown out a decision. They have decided to do a review on their own. It is, according to town council, exceedingly rare that DEP does that on their own. They do have the authority to do so. And as I'm sure you're all aware, there was some significant litigation where the Attorney General's office was involved with this particular parcel. So DEP has been very involved with this parcel for a number of years as the primary enforcement authority and the folks who the AG's office was representing in some of the litigation. So not surprising on that, and that they're basically deciding to take a closer look, and we'll see what comes from it. So quite frankly, there is no role for any of us to play on that. If they need documentation and information, we'll certainly provide it to them via the conservation office. But it is DEP's legal prerogative to review any project, and they have decided that they will do so in this case. So we will await their directive and their final determination on it.
Very good. Thank you, Mitch. We appreciate it. Okay, Ross, you have something to say on that one? Go
I
ahead.
just have a question for Mitch, off topic. It's not have to do with that. So if no one has any questions about the tool company, I'll move on. I think Don, you lose us.
I think he's frozen.
Yeah, I think you lost us. I'll ask you the question.
Oh,
Mitch.
there he is.
Has the info for the outdoor dining been sent out to the businesses yet?
I believe it was sent out. I will verify, but it should have gone out.
Any responses that you know of?
Honestly, I have not asked on that front. I've been on the Concom piece, and we're trying to wrap the warrant up this week for the special meeting. So I will inquire tomorrow morning on the status of that.
Alrighty.
All right. Can you folks hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, my headphones kicked out for some reason. Okay, let's put those away. So that's it. Mitch, anything else to add? Or are you good?
That's it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All set. Thanks, Mitch. Okay, let's open it up to the board. Who wants to go first? Don't be shy. Step right up. Anybody? Herm, go ahead.
Just commentary on what we're up to. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, what you've done, meetings you've been to, people you've touched, stuff like that.
So I sent out a memo indicating that there will be, or was to be, I should say, a meeting this afternoon with Senator Tarr and concerning the exchange of land, MBTA land for town land, as well as the possibility of drilling a new well near Cape Pond and terminating a well that sits beyond the station where potentially even a new station might be located. So I wanted to find out whether or not there was any support from Senator Tarr on that subject, because in reality, the amount of land that is going to be a part of the zoning overlay for multiple family structures in Rockwood is far below what the state is expecting. We're sitting at about 12 acres now. It would be nice to be able to move that number up. So if we could exchange the land, which currently represents the tracks coming into the town up to Railroad Avenue, and push the station out to beyond Pools Lane, we would gather some space and create a space that would be more uniform for development, if that be the case. So I wanted to know what Senator Tarr's comments might be with regard to that. That meeting will now take place tomorrow afternoon. And beyond that, then we would meet with Representative Ferrante to find out what her feelings might be on the same topic.
Good.
On the same topic regarding the MBTA, my understanding is the service to Rockport will happen towards the end of the month. Is that still on target?
I don't know, but that's my assumption, sometime now in May, 1st of May or thereabouts.
Because it's been not coming into Rockport, the train, for a couple of years now, at least 3 or 4.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
The latest update that I read was around May 1. I've not heard any change in that.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, anybody else have anything they want to add? Nope, everybody's good? Okay. Well, this kind of wraps it. We're going to go to public comment next. But again, thank you to everybody. It's been a great 6 years, and especially to my colleagues on the board. I want to thank you again.
We have executive session?
We do. We
Okay.
do. We are going to have an executive session after this. Ross will read the motion in a moment. So with that, let's open it up for our last round of public comment. Anybody who wishes to speak, Monty will so engage them in public, respectful dialogue. Toby, please go right ahead. Monty, can you unmute him?
Thank you. Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. When the planning board was discussing the proposed changes to the zoning at the train station, both Jason Shaw and Denise Donnelly stated incorrectly that the state had ordered the town to undertake these changes. That there is an element of truth in that, but it's certainly not the whole truth, rather a misrepresentation. The fact is that if we don't do as they direct, I would call this blackmail, we're not eligible for 4 different series of grants. At a finance committee meeting before the recent town meeting, I brought the issue forward in public comment session and said that we really needed to find out how much money the town has got in the past year from those 4 grants and how much we've got over the course of the past 5 years so that we could understand better what's at stake. And although it was properly a chore for Jason Shaw, Dwight Valentine, chair of the Finance Committee, turned to Mitch Vieira and it got cast on his shoulders. And I think we need those figures before you make decisions on whether you're going to take a position on the train station zoning. Certainly we are entitled to those figures for the town meeting. On another topic, the fees for the moorings. Obviously, the harbor masters know a great deal and put a considerable effort into it. One question that would certainly be fair to ask and wasn't asked is whether the increase since the last 5 years covers the rate of inflation. And when you get to it, I gather you're going to take it up next year. Perhaps it would be better to ask somebody to find out about all of the neighboring communities so we know if we're on the right track, and also to ask the Finance Committee for their opinion on it as well. Does any of that make sense to you?
Sure, but I will leave that for the next board to deliberate. Thank you very much. We have Mary S. Mary, please. Monty? Thank you. Mary, you're on. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Don.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Her brother, which is, I'm glad that we've cleared this up. I can't get that screen saver correct. I want to wish you the best of luck in your retirement. So good for you. I do have a couple of questions that came up. The easy one is the building manager for the community house. Mitch, was that Kathy Hunt or is she just the reservation agent?
So she had previously handled reservations, and we had a contractor do some of the cleaning. We're looking at what method is going to work best now. So she had previously done a portion of the work.
I'm just asking, who's the building manager that has left?
We don't have a particular person in that role now. The last person who fulfilled the entire community house manager role, all of the responsibilities, was Bill Balzerini. It's been a bit piecemeal since then. Kathy did a couple of things. The DPW office did a couple of things. So we're trying to get a really clear determination on it.
Thank you. The other thing I had a question on is your remarks, this was Mitch, on the presence of the town council communicating with you and others regarding the status of the Conservation Commission decisions. My understanding is that a few of them are within a week or so of being in default, such that if decisions aren't rendered, they're automatically given in favor of the persons that are before the commission. Is that the truth? And if so, what role can the town council play in that if the decisions have to be made by appointed members of the commission?
So the challenging part is that even if the selectmen were to fully staff that committee again right now, the commission again right now, they could still not render a determination on those two remaining matters. They were not. You need to be present as a member or an associate as a member for the hearing portion of that meeting and through the deliberation. That's no longer the case. We no longer have a majority of people who were present for that. So again, even if the board now made it 7 members again with volunteers, we still have two matters that not necessarily automatic approval, but that we're looking at how we can go through a modified or a refiling process with them once we have the commission reestablished. So right now, even if we could have people there, those two, unfortunately, two projects, we're not able to render a decision on right now.
All right, thank you. I do have a question, and maybe you can answer this. According to the state law, a conservation commission has to have a minimum of 3 members and a maximum of 7. You stated earlier that you had 4 vacancies, which would leave 3 of the remaining members still active. Now, are you saying that those members all weren't at the hearings where these decisions needed to be, they had to be at those hearings?
And I'm saying that, so there's not a quorum. So we have 7. So that's the number. The fluctuation is you can pick however many, the town can select how many it wants to be. We used to be 5 members. Several years ago, we switched to 7. So we're at 7. So 4 is the number that we need to have a quorum. So those 3 were present to my knowledge, but that still leaves that 4th seat that's vacant. So it doesn't allow us to take any kind of action.
Could you just tell me where I find the town requirement for the 7 members? That's a problem because I couldn't find it anywhere when I looked at this.
You know, I'd have to go back and look. We switched it to 7 probably 4 or 5 years ago. It used to be just 5, if I'm recalling correctly. I'd have to go back and look how we did it. I can't answer that right now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Zenas. And Zenas, thank you for your well wishes. Very much appreciated. I don't want to come across ungrateful by not acknowledging it. So thank you for that.
We'll meet again, Don, I'm sure.
I have a feeling you're absolutely right, Zenas. So there you go. All right. So with that, I think that wraps us up for tonight. We do have executive session. Unless we have anybody else for public comment, I'll make one more call. Nope, seeing none, I think we're all set. Is there a motion for executive session?
I do, Mr. Chair. I move that the board enter into an executive session for the following executive session pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation regarding Glenn McLeod et al. Versus Town of Rockport et al. Superior Court, docket number 2177, CV 00077. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares, votes may be taken. Executive session pursuant to general law, chapter 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategies with respect to litigation regarding Back Beach Neighbors Committee versus Town of Rockport, Essex Superior Court, docket number 2177 CV 000364. If an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares, votes may be taken. Executive session pursuant to general law, chapter 30A, section I messed that up, section 21A3, to discuss strategies with respect to collective bargaining, local 1679 AFSCME, general and supervisors unit. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body and the chair so declares, votes may be taken. The board will not reconvene in public session.
Okay. Have a motion made and seconded. The chair so declares that by not entering into executive session, it would be detrimental to the town's litigating and bargaining positions. The board will not reconvene in open session. Once again, thank you to Chuck. The last one.
You can probably remove them. It's probably my dad.
There you go. So we're good. Okay, we're in executive session. Thank you, everybody.
Do we need a roll call vote?
For what? Oh, to take it. I'm sorry. Yes, I apologize.
I'm sorry.
No. Thank you for having my back one last time there, Selectman Murphy. Roll call vote to enter into executive session. Selectman Brackett.
Aye.
Selectwoman Wilkinson.
Aye.
Selectman Murphy.
Aye.
Selectman Lilia.
Aye.
Selectman Campbell votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. We are now in executive session.